So we're going to get started with our presentation today. And our presenter today is Matthew Cotten. He started his career in the year 2000 as an LVN working at Covenant in the coronary intensive care unit. He got his diploma at Covenant and then went on to LCU for his BSN. And he was in my class when we got our master's degree together. And now he is in school at Texas Tech doing his postmaster's work. He's going to be a family nurse practitioner. So he hopes to be completed with that in 2015. And meanwhile, he's also working in the resource pool at Covenant, and he has his family. So family, school, work. I asked him about interesting hobbies. Well, forget that. There'll be time for that later. And so today, we're going to listen to Matthew's presentation regarding his research, and we'll have an invited response by Dr. Zini, who has submitted her response in advance, and I'll be reading that and presenting it to you. Matthew. And in our best Toastmasters tradition, I'm going to turn the lectern over to you.
Oh, all righty. Thank you. Thank you, Patty. They probably didn't tell you that they asked you to be here today to pick up my slack, but that's what they told me you were here for, so thank you. And let me tell you a little bit about the research that I was a part of. This research came about when I was doing my master's studies here at LCU, and I got to join in with Dr. Long, who was already put in the research. She was looking to see if she could produce some of the facilitators and barriers and ways to promote healthy eating among a group of community gardeners. So that's where I came in, and we put together a plan to have a healthy meal and have a focus group meeting with this group of community gardeners at Carpenter's Kitchen. And if you aren't aware where Carpenter's Kitchen is at, it's at adjacent to Broadway Church of Christ. And next to the kitchen, there's a garden area, and there's some plots that each of the people had, and they were able to grow their own little vegetables in their plots, and just really whatever they wanted to do with it, they could, and hopefully to promote some healthy eating habits. And also I want to take some time to thank Dr. Nadine Zini, who is the invited virtual response speaker today, who is from the Lebanese American University in Beirut. So that's pretty neat that she's able to give her input on the slides along with the facilitators and barriers to healthy eating. So eating healthy involves knowing the right foods to choose for each meal. What types of foods should you choose? In the U.S., an initiative has begun through My Plate and to help promote healthy eating. The website choosemyplate.gov offers a wide range of healthy foods to choose during mealtime. Every meal should include your fruits and vegetables, grains, and protein foods, and your dairies, and at least 50% fruits and vegetables. Healthy fruits includes those things such as your bananas, oranges, strawberries, or even 100% fruit juice. Your vegetables can include your broccoli, cauliflower, corns, starches such as those, or 100% vegetable juice. They can be cooked or frozen, fresh, canned, or even dehydrated. Protein foods include cuts of lean meat such as chicken, fish, or cooked seafood at least one time per week, and different types of unsalted nuts and soy products for vegetarians. Dairy, of course, includes your milk products, should be low fat, and grains include such as things as wheat and rice, oats, oatmeal, and breakfast cereals. So today we cannot overemphasize the importance of eating healthy. When reviewing the past percentages of the food dollar spent on food prepared outside the home, we see it rise for all the Western countries, but most especially in the U.S. In the year 1970, an estimated 26% of the food dollar was spent on food prepared outside the home. 25 years later, in 1995, we have a modest increase, and it's up to 39%. But then in 2010, over an even shorter amount of time, we were at a projected 53% of the food dollars spent on food prepared outside the home. So is it possible to eat healthy if you're only eating foods outside the home? You could probably say it might be, but it's unlikely, especially in today's society. We are fast-paced. We have fast-paced mentalities, and we like things now, and that especially goes with our food. So it makes us tend to eat more fast foods, and those are definitely the wrong foods to choose whenever we're trying to eat healthy. And this has obviously led to an increase in unhealthy lifestyles and eating habits. So along with the increasing percentages of persons eating outside the home, the current global trend of an individual's diet consists of more high-fat and high-energy dense and calorie-packed foods, which is most likely related to eating out more. As well, we are experiencing an increase in the percentage of sedentary lifestyles among individuals. Not surprisingly, along with the trends of unhealthy eating and increased sedentary lifestyles, the worldwide obesity rates are on the rise, along with the persons suffering from type 2 diabetes. In the year 2000, the global population of persons with type 2 diabetes was estimated at 171 million. Today, we are standing around 347 million, which is obviously a greater than 50% increase, and a startling increase, especially considering that this is a disease that could largely be deterred with just healthier eating alone. Further nutritional studies and facts, an estimated 31% of cardiovascular disease and 11% of the CVA cases can be explained by inadequate fruit and vegetable intake. By the year 2020, cardiovascular disease will likely be the most common cause of disability-adjusted life year loss, which is the measurement of the years lost due to ill health, disability, or early death. Cardiovascular disease in the year 1991 ranked at number 5 in daily loss. So it's definitely on the rise. And last, let's not forget that the studies do suggest the incidences of cardiovascular disease and CVA cases and hypertension rates could be deterred with an increase in the fruit and vegetable intake, and along with improving our weights. The conceptual framework for our study was established around Albert Bandura's self-efficacy theory. Bandura's efficacy theory is often associated in a person's ability to make health behavior changes. Self-efficacy refers to one's belief in their capabilities to obtain a health behavior-related goal. As a person strives to reach a goal, past failures or successes will impact their perceived self-efficacy. Successes raise their perceived efficacy levels, and failures will obviously lower and diminish their perceived self-efficacy. This, of course, makes it very important for individuals to set obtainable goals when going for towards whatever goal they're shooting for. Therefore, it can benefit a person more to set a realistic goal of losing 10 pounds over 2 months rather than 10 pounds in 10 days or so. If they achieve their goal of losing 10 pounds over 2 months, even though it was done over a longer period of time, they will feel successful. They will most likely be in the future set further goals to lose weight, and that will raise their self-efficacy even further. And in his book, Bandura states, a resilient sense of efficacy enables individuals to do extraordinary things by productive use of their skills in the face of overwhelming obstacles. Now, on the other hand, let's say they decided to set the other goal of losing 10 pounds over 10 days or so. And maybe they only lost 10 pounds or 5 pounds over 2 weeks. They will obviously have failed in their goal, therefore their self-efficacy would be even lower, or it will be lowered. They will feel like they might have failed. They may not want to set further goals of trying to lose weight. Therefore, they will not attempt to make things happen. They might encounter obstacles. They won't know how to overcome them because their self-efficacy will be lowered. One thing that comes to mind for me when looking at this is all the dieting trends that many Americans do every year. There's so many of them out there, and oftentimes diets often fail. And Bandura's theory would definitely be applicable in these instances, and therefore their efficacy might be lowered, and any future attempts at dieting would already be suffering because of their past failed attempts. For our research methods, first, IRB approval was obtained through Lubbock Christian University. The research design involved exploratory descriptive research, allowing for the gathering of basic information on our topic. Qualitative analysis was conducted with the data collected during a focus group meeting. Sample size included 12 participants, 6 male and 6 female. The individuals all had the opportunity, as discussed previously, to participate in a community garden in which they had access to the garden and they had access to their plots and to produce a variety of healthy vegetables to promote healthy eating habits. Data collection occurred through structured questions asked to the participants during the focus group. We encouraged the ideas, thoughts, and perceptions of the facilitators and barriers to healthy eating among the group. A combination of interview, group interaction, and participant observation occurred. Audio recording took place. And following the interview, all the answers were transcribed. Each question then also ended with a final question asking the participants for any additional information they would like to offer to the discussion. The data analysis took place throughout the study, but the majority occurred at the end after audio recording was transcribed. The thematic analysis occurred with the data, emphasizing patterns and themes within the data. And at the conclusion of the focus groups, available participants were allowed to review transcribed audio recordings for accuracy and assurances that their experiences were captured accordingly. For our research findings, the first question asked to the group was, what barriers exist in your life to making healthy choices when it comes to healthy eating? The most common barriers discussed among the group was the availability of unhealthy foods. They're just so widely available, especially with the fast foods and everything you encounter along your daily travels. Next was just there was not enough time in their busy schedules to eat healthy, because it takes a lot of time to commit to eating healthy. And next, fried foods often just taste better, and they're more filling. They're a lot more appealing sometimes than some of the baked or grilled stuff that you might have an option to eat as well. And then also another barrier was access to fresh foods, such as fresh fish, are often not available to them. So the facilitators were then addressed. Most common facilitator mentioned among the group was family support and having another loved one there with you to make the commitment together. Several of the participants mentioned their love of cooking when time allowed. They just like to go home and cook. And also cell phone apps were used among several in the group, and they would use those for such things as like food diaries and other apps that you can find to count the number of calories that you're consuming on a daily basis. And another question included discussion on participants' thoughts and openness to text messages as prompts for healthy eating. Possibly 2 or 3 times a week to receive a text message or even an email as a reminder to eat healthy. Majority was open to this idea and thought it would be useful in providing them with the ideas on what to eat and act as a reminder to eat healthy throughout the week. Although a couple in the group, the older ones, did prefer the emails other than text messages to the healthy eating reminders. And it's not on this slide, but the last question we asked were their thoughts on utilizing the community garden and the ways in which it instilled healthier eating habits for them. The overwhelming responses from the group included ways in which it allowed them to try new vegetables they ordinarily wouldn't go to the store and buy because it's just not something they would think they would like to eat. So they were opened up to new ideas on different foods. And it was also a cost savings for them as well, because they could use some of the vegetables from the garden for their meals instead of going to the store to buy them. So the garden did have some success too in promoting some healthy eating habits. Now here's a wordle to the research findings on the barriers as discussed by the participants. The most common theme that you could see was time, and on the bottom here, there's just not a lot of time for them to commit to eat healthy. And also above there, the availability factor. And above that, the fried foods just often taste better. And access there to the bottom right was access to fresh foods and such were just not always available. And then now here's the wordle for the facilitators on the healthy eating. This most prominent answer as seen on this wordle is having the family support, making the commitment together, how they love to cook, how the healthy foods made their body feel better, having family, again, commitment and making it a commitment as a community. And some thought it would even save them money because they're not out eating all the time. And also on here to the left is the internet. Many use sites such as Pinterest, which is becoming more popular. Has a lot of different ideas on recipes and healthy meals that you can find. In conclusion, staying with Albert Bandura's self-efficacy theory, improving an individual's self-efficacy is an important aspect to success with healthier eating among the population. So back to the question presented earlier, how can we improve society's self-efficacy when it comes to healthy eating? With the findings of the facilitators to healthy eating, one of the most important and first steps involves using the tools at our disposal more widely. Sites such as Pinterest and the internet can be a great resource and has gained a lot of popularity, especially in the United States. They have many ideas on recipes, as I discussed just previously, on healthy meals. Social media sites such as Facebook and Twitter and blogs have also been pretty popular and could be used in a wide range of ways to encourage healthy eating. And as discussed by the participants in the focus group, text messages and emails could be utilized among a group of people to help encourage healthy eating, possibly giving ideas on recipes or pictures of a healthy meal for healthy eating prompts. And last, cell phone apps could be utilized as they are becoming more popular among the population. And last, barriers to healthy eating will continue to exist, but one big key to improve healthy eating among the global population is identifying the biggest barriers and facilitators according to specific populations. As well, moving forward, it is important to continue educating the public on the health consequences of unhealthy eating. Goals centered around healthy eating and dieting need to be more attainable so that the individual's self-efficacy can always be at its highest, and implied by Bandura, continue to empower them to do extraordinary things when eating healthy, even if they are faced with enormous obstacles. All of this is easier said than done, of course. Health promotion among the population by way of healthy eating is a huge challenge. However, small steps like this can help to lead to an eventual transformation in the health of our communities. And that is my presentation. Thank you for coming. And I don't think I talked about this, but one of the things that I was grateful for with this presentation and getting to do this research is having the time to go to, or having the opportunity to go and present it at Prague and the Sigma Theta Tau International Nursing Research Congress, and that was a great experience. We went this last summer. I got to listen to a lot of great research on nursing leaders throughout the world, and it's just a good thing, especially if you're a student. I've always had a hard time saying no, but So I always say yes if they ask me to do something. Okay, I'll come do it. But for like students, if you have the opportunity to present somewhere or do a poster board, and always take your professors up on that, because it gives you a lot of great opportunities. And like me, I've just learned a lot, and hopefully I've grown from it. So that is my advice for you. And now I guess we will go to Dr. Nadine Zini's invited response, and Patty will give you that. Thank you.
After I present Dr. Zini's response, then we'll open up to questions for everyone. So Dr. Nadine Zini is from the Lebanese American University in the Department of Natural Sciences and the School of Arts and Sciences. So, thank you. So first I noticed that Dr. Zini has done a bit of a recap on Matthew's presentation. So for the background, eating healthy is definitely becoming harder as with the current fast-paced lifestyles. The main barriers to healthy eating in the studied population is the high availability of unhealthy food versus the limited availability of healthy food, limited time due to busy schedules, and unhealthy fried foods are tasty and filling. And I happen to think while this was going on, there is a TV program that you should avoid at all costs, and that would be diners, drive-ins, and dives, right? Main facilitators to eating healthy in the studied population would be family support, love of cooking when time allows, and cell phone apps, food diaries, use of social media, text, and email. So the conclusion is that technology or growing economy is part of the problem, but it will also be part of the solution. Looks like a little reframing, doesn't it? So the important aspects that were addressed in the presentation include description of global trends that are increasing obesity and disease, more eating out, eating more fat and calories, eating less fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and moving less. Secondly, the SWOT analysis of unhealthy eating in the studied population, focusing on strengths, love of cooking, and opportunities, technology, to combat weaknesses, limited time, and threats, high availability of unhealthy foods. So what else would we like to know? Dr. Zini tells us that a bit more detail about the 12 subjects might be helpful. Why were they chosen? What was the age and occupation? How are their eating and physical activity habits? Do they have high body weight? And do they have any obesity-related disease or risk factor? So other potential solutions. Lifestyle changes are important to break bad eating habits so that the changes are sustained. It is therefore important that intervention includes an education component about what is healthy eating and good portion size, and useful tips for behavior modification and increase of self-efficacy. For example, how to break the habit of snacking when under stress. Tips to eat slowly. What foods should not be found at home at any time? I have a feeling we would empty out half our pantries if we did that. Physical activity needs to be part of the solution. It is important to emphasize that any type of physical activity counts. For example, gardening, playing with the kids, cleaning the house, taking the stairs. And personally, I would include laughter therapy, and can be incorporated into one's lifestyle. Cell phone apps may be also used to encourage and monitor physical activity, like the number of steps you're taking. Great job, Matthew. Let's open it to questions or comments.
Excuse me. I also wondered about the participants in the study, because you said the garden was a community garden and it was next to the Carpenter's Church. So who uses that garden?
several of the people that appeared talk. The people that were chosen for the research, it was all on a voluntary basis, and most of them were already members of that community around the Carpenter's Kitchen. So they, as they were available to that area, and they often were there maybe eating at Carpenter's Kitchen out on Sundays for the meals, they were just approached and asked, would they like to participate in the community garden. So most of it was just people that were involved in that community already. And then some of the others were family of Dr. Long, who had also kind of participated in the research and utilized the garden area too. Does that answer the question?
Well, yeah, and it's what surprised me, because I know that carpenters usually, when I was working on my, was it bachelor's or, no, master's, we went there, and so most of the people that we met or saw were homeless.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of surprised me when I saw facilitators like cell phones and the apps and that sort of thing, because that's typically not what you're going to find in that population.
Right.
And then I wondered also about barriers, because many people that are homeless, money's going to be a big barrier to purchasing anything that's healthy. You're cheap, like Burger King and McDonald's are cheap, and so or they get what they can. That's free. So I just wondered your population. It was, because I just thought, well, it's kind of odd, because most of the people that go to church there, I know, are usually, but not all. Just depending on who you asked.
There were others that participated in the meal,
Uh-huh.
and some of those were some of the homeless persons that attended that
Uh-huh.
area, but they didn't necessarily participate in the interview process. Some of the persons that were in the interview process were members of the church there, Carpenter's Church, and would come over. So they were not homeless. They may have been in a lower socioeconomic class, but they were not necessarily homeless, and they, would still have access to cell phones and stuff like that, although not all of the participants in that class, people, utilize cell phones, apps for those things. Some of those, I guess, responses were by other participants. So it was not like necessarily all of the individuals liked the cell phone apps, but a few of them did.
Do we have any other community gardens other than the Carpenter location?
Not that I'm aware of.
I know several years ago, when I used to jog around Higginbotham, they had a community garden at Higginbotham. But I never really, and I used to see people come and go as I would walk, and they had their little plot, but I never really tried to find out who or what was going on. But I remember that there was a community garden there, and that they would come, and it was a seasonal thing, and they did that for a couple of years, and then it's not there anymore. So I just kind of wonder. And there is a church right there on the corner also, and that's Grace Church of Christ, I think is the name of that, on the corner. So I'm thinking, I wonder if it was the church people there too that implemented that little community garden there for some of their congregation people.
That would be
But I don't
interesting to
know.
find out. I think the community garden would do a lot for a group of people, especially if they didn't have money to go buy vegetables at the stores. They could just go to their garden area and get them. And it definitely promote healthier eating, because a majority of the lower socioeconomic class don't eat healthy. They
Right.
tend to eat unhealthier. It's just harder for them.
And do the people that participate, do they buy their own seeds or plants for the garden, or
I believe so.
does the church help provide
When
that?
I came in for this research, they were already into the process of planting in the garden and growing their vegetables. It was hard during this time of season because it was during the summer months and there was not a lot of rain, so some of the vegetables didn't produce
Right.
as we wish they could have. So that made it kind of a challenge too for this garden. was during the dry season.
I had a question about that. I've tried planting a few gardens, and I've told another time. Was there any way anybody instructing people how to garden, or how to irrigate, or how to?
They would go up there on their own and kind of tend to their plots, and some people were better about it than others, I think. And some of the plots that people had really didn't grow much at all. Others did good, you know, the people would go up and water their vegetables. So it just depended one on who it was and how well they took care of their own plot. But there was no more structure to it than that, really. And Dr. Long, I think, did a good job in helping get some of it set up and assisting with what vegetables to grow and that sort of thing as well.
I'm sorry, what's so striking about that whole thing is that this is such a simple thing that could be done by virtually anybody, anywhere. And my gosh, I would buy buckets of seeds and give them out. If, you know, that would be, I don't know how much seeds are, but it is, you know, why don't we do that more? It's such a simple solution. And I wonder if you ever, you know, if you study the cost of buying the seeds and the water or whatever you use to make the garden, and then however much it produced, if you compared that to buying the produce in the store, it would be remarkable.
I think so, and plus, on top of that, there's not a lot of chemicals involved that
Yeah.
are used for the vegetables that you buy in the store. It's just a lot
But we will
healthier.
pay more for organic vegetables in the store, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you from experience, when it gets hot in the summertime, after you've worked all day, I could care less about going and weeding the garden.
Mhm.
I did it for a while, and then after a while, it just gets flat old. I don't want to be out there in 101 degrees or 5 degrees after work
Mhm.
pulling weeds.
Yeah, another
And
problem.
you have to tend the garden.
Some of the subjects didn't have transportation to and from the garden, so it was hard for them to get up there and take care of their plots too. So there were other factors involved with why they might not have performed well in their garden.
Did anyone in the group share recipes for maybe some vegetables that they had recipes for but others had never tried?
There was, and I can't recall all of them now, but you know, there were, I guess, Brussels sprouts that people grew in the garden, and others had never liked Brussels sprouts, but you grow them in the garden and they just loved them. And they had some recipe ideas, and I'm not much of a recipe person, I guess. I can't recall them, but they did share them. And during the healthy meal, we had a vegetable stir fry, and that was good. And I made that one, so I was surprised that turned out all right. But anyway, and we had just different things, and desserts and stuff made out of all the vegetables, so turned out well.
I know I struggle just trying to eat healthy off and on at times. And, you know, they were talking about convenience time and all that. And, you know, I live by myself, and I do have kind of crazy hours sometimes. But, you know, I can see that. That's always been a struggle. And I think, you know, it had love on both of those word slides. And I kept thinking, yeah, I have a love affair with food. I like to eat. And, I mean, that's being honest. But, you know, off and on, I do struggle with trying to eat healthy. And I think the older I get, I really try to lean more towards trying to eat healthy, because I want to live as long as I can and enjoy my grandchildren. But that was good. That was, you know, to look at all those words and say, yeah, I fit there, but yeah, I fit here. And so it's just staying committed. You know.
It is. I think now we're finally hopefully seeing a trend where more people are realizing that eating healthy is important, and it's starting to improve. It will just take a long time, probably.
Well, I think that I find myself eating out a lot in somebody's busy schedule, but I'm a vegetarian. I've been a vegetarian now for probably about 12 years. And I find that when I go out and eat, I mean, I choose the healthier options, you know? And I've eaten out last week probably like 4 times, you know? But to me, it wasn't difficult, you know, because of the options that I had. And I think that a lot of it has to do with self-control too. Because, I mean, of course, you can go to Burger King and you can get certain things. I can get a veggie burger at Burger King. But the other restaurants that are around too, they also cater to vegetarians, and you can eat a big old salad with some, you know, veggie chili or something like that that's on there, and it's more filling to me. I mean, I enjoy it a whole lot. So there are healthier options out there. I mean, I wouldn't, fast food is bad, but there are healthier options in the fast food restaurants.
Yeah, that's good to
So,
know.
yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
There are. And I didn't notice that you said anything about drinking water and all that kind of stuff, so y'all didn't really look at that part either, did you?
Not too much on drinking water, but of course, you know, that's important.
It is. So you just wonder, you know, sodas and, you know, and juice is good, but in moderation, you know, you'd rather them have the fruit instead of the juice that way. But anyway, that's good. You did a good job.
Matthew, did you have a hard time narrowing down what you were going to study? Because I find a lot of times when I start to research something, I'm trying to look at too much. And some, when you talk about the water, and Dr. Z made some suggestions too, but sometimes you can get so much involved in the research that you can't really come to any answers because it's just too big. So I thought you did a great job on that study, and I think that's something that can be replicated, and I always like that too, so you can keep getting more numbers, and maybe include things like that next time, but
Yeah, there's so much more that you could expand on.
it's
Yes,
a huge topic, yeah.
definitely. Dr. Byers?
Has this research project generated any other ideas for you to do more research, either from this or just something new, entirely different?
I think that it would be good to expand on this and going further to the facilitators and barriers and find out more specific ways and expand on the ways to improve healthy eating. Maybe that'd be a possibility in the future. Probably not right now or anytime soon, I guess. Maybe when I get out of school, I'll do something with that.
I think it's an interesting project, and it's relevant, and I think you've done a really nice job.
Thank you. Any more? Alrighty. Thanks for coming.
You know, I left out